It's an uncomfortable piece that the oil market has made. Ali, good morning to you. In terms of where we trade at the moment, still no deal from OPEC Plus. What are you hearing from clients? Are they comfortable with this oil price? What does it mean for the deployment of capital across the GCC?
Good morning, Manus. I think what's happening here, market is trying to price in a deal in OPEC Plus, although we're still seeing higher demand from oil and for oil, and this is actually impacting positively the GCC economies. As you rightly said, GCC economies are in the right place in terms of higher oil prices, which is impacting positively their current account surpluses and fiscal surpluses. At the same time, it's gonna they have very high vaccination rates, which is boding well to opening up the economies. And this is where we think the governments have more muscle to start spending in order to protect a rebound in the economy in the near future.
Okay, let's just break some of that down, because I look at what's going on with Saudi stocks and Dubai stocks. The Tadawul down, 5 days in a row, the longest losing streak since the start of this year. And Dubai, the longest losing streak since July of last year. Ali, is this a value repricing? Have we run into a little bit of a brick wall in terms of the value trade, which is implicit in both of these markets?
Globally, we've seen the value trade slowing a bit. We've seen correction across value and cyclical names globally, and the GCC has been impacted as part of that, because mainly most of our companies that are listed in the GCC region are cyclical companies. However, what's boding well versus emerging markets is that the oil prices is actually giving more strength to GCC companies, and this is where we think that there's more value in some of the cyclical sectors or names in the region.
And part of that are the banks. Now, we're going into reporting season in the United States and in Europe. As far as the banks are concerned here, is that, I suppose, floor in oil, one could say, or as you say, searching for a deal, trying to hold this level? Does that play into the credit quality and the lending at the banks here in the region?
I think banks here are supported by strong shareholders. They have they are highly capitalized, and plus they have been able to weather through the crisis, the COVID crisis, through having higher cost of risk, which actually impacted earnings. However, looking forward, I think cost of risk will start reducing, and loan growth will start going back to the average normal that we should start seeing linked to the economies. And this is where we think local regional banks should benefit, especially the big banks such as in UAE we have ENBD, ADCB, and partly FAB because of the valuation, and also in Saudi linking banks to government spending such as NCB, and even on the corporate side such as Saudi Bridge Bank. So I think those banks in general should do well in the near term, especially with earnings seasons coming in, and they should post good results in general.
Now, the satellite company Yahsat, I call up with Musabah Al-Kabi just as they announced this IPO in Abu Dhabi on the exchange. For me, it's about bolstering the liquidity of Abu Dhabi. If you look at what ADNOC are doing in terms of the pipelines, if you look at the Murban futures and now this next IPO, do you think it's going to be locally held or do you think it's going to draw a little bit more attention? Who's going to trade this stock? Who's going to own it?
Definitely the UAE exchanges are thirsty for new IPOs. quality and rightly priced IPOs. And I think international and regional, international and local investors will be interested in such IPOs because it's not
Did you
coming
buy
from
any, Ali? Did you buy any for clients? Did you buy any for the funds?
Of course, we've bid and we've bid for the IPO, and actually we have.
Did you get your allocation?
We have allocated exactly. We got the allocations and less than what we asked for because it was highly demanded.
So will you come back into the secondary market on that? Will you pick up more stock on the secondary?
Of course. We didn't get the full allocation, so most probably we'll have to get it from the secondary market.